Hey guys, Rich from Richmond Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Bugle where we eventually have another character to talk about. Joining me again, as always, is the co-host of the show. He's been upgraded. Quinn, how you doing?
You say this like this is a new development. I've been
I know.
the co-host for
What? What was the terminology used the other week that really made me chuckle? Sidekick. That was the one that made me really laugh. I'm going to put a little thing up here of sidekick. Quinn, we've had a week where we've had some releases at the very least. You've been playing a little bit of Shadowlands Daredevil to test him out. Obviously, not with any sort of official rules yet, so I think you've been going worst case scenario, haven't you, on how the grunts work?
Grunts aren't all. I mean, I actually only ever summoned the grunts once with him because people really wanted him dead. Like they beeline straight for. No, not you. Marcus was far more effective at killing him.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Same complication with all the mystic attacks.
Well, some idiot is trying to play Dormammu in the core box at the moment, isn't he?
So, what kind of idiot would do that? Honestly,
I know. Quinn, we got Elektra, aka Elektra Nachos, card revealed earlier this week. We haven't had a chance to play with her.
I mean, I
don't know if I ever want to play with her, but let's break her card down. I mean, we're going to be going over a lot of what other people have said, but I think it's worth saying again because I can't remember the last time they've missed the mark so much with a character, Quinn. Just so much. But let's jump in. Let's take a look at the card.
I mean, Colossus was pretty fucking bad.
I mean, at least he's self-sustaining. But anyway, yeah, he kind of is. So Elektra, aka Elektra Nachos, on her healthy side, she is 6 stamina, medium move, size 2, threat 4, and then 3s across the board for her defenses. Her first attack, note how I call it an attack and not a builder, is Ancient Throwing Blades. So range 3, 5 strength, 0 cost. It's got a pierce on a wild, a pierce on a bleed, and then it summons the hand
pierce on a bleed? That's interesting.
And then you get a bleed on a wild even, and then summons the hand ninjas. And Quinn, we first got this card and went, that's a really nice builder. Yep, carry on. Start looking down the other card. And then you went, Rach, go back and look at her builder. And I'm like, yeah, Pierce, good. 5 dice, good. Bleed, nice. Hand ninjas, they get to attack. What's your problem? And he's like, what's missing? I went, oh.
Oh, no.
So it's not a builder. It's a 0 cost attack. Let's have a look at her second attack then. Impale. Range 1. Range 1, 8 strength, 5 cost. If an allied hand ninja's character is within 2 of the target character, so within the character that you're attacking, add 2 dice to the attack roll. The defending character does not add crits to its defense roll, or do they explode them? And then after it's resolved, she moves medium. That crits one, by the way, separate to the 2 attack. That's not reliant on the hand ninjas being there. So, with the ninjas there, Quinn, that's quite a nice, 5 power for 9 is quite good.
For 10.
Oh, for 10 even, yeah.
That's how maths works.
I like the medium move off the back end. I do not like the range 1. I don't understand why it's a range 1.
I mean, I get that, she's getting in real close and just going, but, every other, melee attack in the game is range 2, which would then extend the fact that sort of arm's reach is range 2 in this game.
That's kind of the precedent that's been set, isn't it? Worth pointing out as well that her Ancient Throwing Blades is what triggers the attack on the ninjas as well. So when they're brought into it, they get to make an attack off the back end of it, even though they'll come in activated. I think, Quinn, in isolation, they're not bad attacks, but we'll get on to why we're going to have some problems. So
I feel like Ancient Throwing Blades is a very bad attack.
Well, yes.
Because of what it's supposed to be and what it isn't.
So Assassin Step, 2 power, reactive ability. When this character damages an enemy character with an attack, After the attack is resolved, it may use this superpower. Place the character within range 1 of the damaged character. This superpower can only be used once per turn. I like that, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a really, really nice... It's a bit of a take, isn't it, on the whole do the attack and then place. It's like you get to choose, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of extra mobility. You said you weren't a fan of the range one on the impale. That gets you into it.
It gets you into it, yeah, and that's the way around it, right? She's got martial prowess. We all know what martial prowess does, so you get to roll 5 dice instead. You've got to be within range 2, any attack, and then if you take no damage, your opponent takes 2 damage. And then she has a new unique ability, Quinn, that we haven't seen before, which is Out for Blood. When this character deals damage to an enemy character with an attack or superpower, after the attack or superpower is resolved, this character gains 1 power. So if she does damage with her 0 cost, she gains a power. If she does damage with her impale, she gains a power. And if she does damage with martial prowess, she gains a power. The problem is, Quinn, she's never going to generate enough power to do any of the things she wants to be able to do. Because you start the game on 1, right? Realistically, she's going to have to move. In 90% of circumstances, she's going to have to move to make her first ancient throwing blades, right? Most cases. I'm trying to think if there is a case. Maybe it's Hulk has gamma launched somebody, or they've used portals, or whatever it is. But even then, she's probably going to have to move to make her attack. So she attacks. So she moves and attacks. So at the end of turn 1, if she's taken, or the end of round 1, if nobody's attacked her, which why the hell would you? Why would you even bother targeting her down? She's on 3 power at the beginning of round 2. She then needs to do 2 attacks to be able to generate 5 power to be able to do her attack. So that's taking her to round 3 before she can do her build, right? Her attack. So to round 3, she's now on 6 power. Okay. So now, if and only if she does an ancient throwing blades, does a damage to generate 2 power, to then be able to move within 1, or she waits to move, getting there, to then be able to do impale. Like, realistically, you're not doing her builder until round 3.
Yeah, her spender is just so out of reach. You can kind of equate ancient throwing blades to being a static 1 power builder, but it obviously is worse in some ways that I'll go into. First of all, static 1 power builder as the only builder on a 4-threat character is just straight up bad with no rapid fire.
Yep.
Second, it's worse because it relies on you doing damage.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. And I want to just address something quickly here, Quinn, because I've seen a few people on various platforms and other content creators and thinking about, oh, well, if you put her in here, then she'd be really good, or if you put her in here, she'd be really good. Like, there's no way you can put her where she's really good, okay? The affiliation she can go into that would potentially allow her to generate the power she needed would be things like Cabal, Brotherhood, and A-Force in terms of power generation, or Steve's Avengers because she'd get to do things for a power less, right?
Well, effectively, assuming she always blocked everything and did the damage, she would have infinite free martial prowess, which is like...
Yeah, well, that's really nice. But, like, there are so many 4-threat characters out there who... I'm just going to reel off a few here, Quinn, right? Because these are the characters that she is competing against. Because she's probably going to be in Criminal Syndicate. She's probably going to be in Cabal. She's not Air Force affiliated, right? So they're probably the 2 places you're going to see her. I can't imagine her being affiliated anywhere else off the top of my head. So Dr. Vu, Dr. Voodoo is a 4-threat character, okay?
Yes, he is.
He doesn't care what affiliation he's in.
No.
Rogue is a 4-threat character who, and I'm going to say Dr. Voodoo, Rogue, Gamora, who else have we got in there, Quinn, in the mix, in the big 4-threat powerhouses?
Right, so...
Marvel, Captain Marvel, right? Those 4 characters are 4 of the most splashable characters in the game. And what do they all have in common? Well, they all have in common the fact that they are self-sufficient as characters. They can do enough damage, or they have the option of, in the case of like Captain Marvel, a single builder, a flat 1 power versus a, gain power equal to damage dealt. They are self-sufficient. They can go by themselves and perform really, really well. Then if you put them into an affiliation that unlocks that power for them or decreases their cost, they get even better, right? So they're elevated when they're in these certain affiliations. Why on earth would you ever take and I'm going to say it, Quinn, I genuinely think she's worse than Colossus. Genuinely think she's worse than Colossus.
I don't think I could ever go so far as to say something was worse than Colossus.
I really think she is. Really think she is. She could be, in my mind, the worst character in the game right now. And I'm struggling to think of, because at least other characters can do what it is they need to do.
Wong exists. He's pretty fucking bad.
Wong is a 2-threat in affiliation that can, give some support to Strange and a couple of other characters, right? But he's not a 4-threat, Quinn.
On the subject of 4-threats, just going a little bit away from the top 4-threats and more towards the in-affiliation 4-threats that she's competing with.
Yeah.
Because, maybe that's a little bit fairer. It's not. It's still really fucking bad for her. So in Cabal, you've got people like, Mr. Sinister, Loki, Enchantress, even though she was nerfed. She's not beating out those characters. In Criminal Syndicate, specifically with like Daredevil in mind, because I think that's the one you would run her with. She's not particularly tanky. She's competing with Killmonger.
Yeah.
No one's competing with Killmonger.
Somebody also said, and I want to address this, guys, as well. And I'm gonna pull some numbers up here because it's really important to understand like damage output and what it is that she's going to be able to do. So 5 dice with a pierce, right? Because that's what she's got. On average, she's going to be doing against a 3 defense character, which is the average, right? On average, she's going to be doing 2 damage, right? That's what those 5 dice get you. Yes, it can trigger the follow-up attack on the ninjas if the ninjas are not already in play. Their attack's doing 1 damage on average. That's 3 damage. She is below the average damage output, Quinn, of a 3-threat. Just let that sink in. She's below the average damage output of a 3-threat.
X23, and she's intended to be a killy 4-threat.
X23 does more damage than her. God,
that I'm like not surprised by, because X23 is the highest damage output 3-threat in the game, unless you have Zemo with power.
Go 1 threat down, Quinn, and look at the 3 threats you've got. Right? Do you not take Rocket and Nebula, and you've got a great collection there of killer characters.
Another big issue I have with Elektra is the fact that she's a medium move.
Oh yeah,
Elektra. Like immediately, my mind evoked long move, super fast assassin character. Sure, she can jump about, but she's not got the power to do it very often.
Well, I find her, Quinn, to be comparable to Gamora. Okay, Gamora's only job in the world. So in terms of their job in the game, right? Okay. Gamora has she's got no control play, right? Her only job is to kill people, right? This is what Elektra does as well. Just look at the tech that Gamora has, right? Deadliest woman in the galaxy. On a wild, convert any dice into a hit. Per wild you roll. So her 6 dice builder becomes amazing. She's then got, I want to say it's like 4 power or 5 power, maybe the same sort of cost as
Cosmic Slash is 4 power.
4 power. Pierce on a wild, but then you still get those wilds turning your other dice into hits.
And then you get to do the attack again.
Yeah. Now, it is a rapid strike, and it is a separate character, Quinn, so there is that. But even so, like, it's...
I mean, then you have to factor in the leap, which is another source of damage.
Yep. She's a long move.
Both have mental prowess, I do believe.
Yep.
Both have stealth.
Yep. Long move.
But she's long move, like, Gamora is just straight up better than Elektra.
Yeah.
Like, Elektra's probably not going to come with some sort of ridiculous team tactic card either. I don't.
Do you know what, Quinn? I really do not like a character having to rely on outside... Sorry, let me rephrase that. A 4-threat character should not have to rely on outside help to turn on. In my mind, they are a big enough investment by themselves that they shouldn't be relying on outside help. And I consider that outside help to be an affiliation bonus or a tactics card or another character boosting them or something like that. Because, Rogue has got her own card, right? 2 cards even. But you don't use them because they're no good. No. Voodoo's got a card, but you're never using it because it's no good. But then there are some other characters in the game. Venom, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, Venom. We didn't even mention Venom in the vein of 4 threats. Talking about wanting to murder people and also doing some other things as well. You can take Venom without Lethal Protector. Absolutely fine. He still does his job.
Yeah.
But with, Lethal Protector just elevates an already good character. And I'm not going to say Venom's great.
Whatever card Elektra comes with isn't going to elevate her to really good 4 threat. It's going to elevate her to 4 threat.
I don't even know if it can. Unless she has a tactics card that says, play this tactics card and for the rest of the game you generate 2 power per turn. I don't understand how she's ever going to unlock the tech that she's got. And that for me is the problem. Is she has no way of building power, so therefore she can't do anything. I genuinely thought, Quinn, that we were going to get an update 2 hours later saying, guys, we've messed up. This is an old version of the card. Here's the errata. And it just says, power equal to damage dealt.
Yeah. Right, a little bit of a thought experiment. If she did have the text of, power per damage dealt, how would you value her as a 4 threat?
Oh, high. Very high. In terms of killer. Because if we're keeping the out for blood, she has the built-in Cabal leadership ability.
Yeah.
So her 2 damage that she's doing on her throwing blades then is generating 3 power on average per turn. That's real good for a 4 threat. Would I have liked to...
per attack, right? So
per attack, yeah. So potentially 6, yeah. Would I have liked a long move in there? Yes. However, I think once you start getting into the realms of actually being able to spend a 2 power for Assassin Step, that long move doesn't become an issue. And I get that's what they've gone with. Because if she had a long move and then a range 3 attack and then an Assassin Step, that's too much.
Yeah.
But she can't use any of it. So as it is, she's no good. But that's all it needs, Quinn. All it needs is power equal to damage. I'll go one step further, Quinn. Okay? And it wouldn't be as good. And I would
Is
say...
it just flat 1 power game?
Flat 1 power. Okay? So if it
with
was
the
a
potential
flat
to
1
2
power,
if she does damage. Yeah,
exactly
sure.
that. With that, because that then means that off the back end of your main attack, you're almost guaranteed to be able to do an Assassin Step, which feels quite nice. So I'd have taken either. Power equal to damage dealt would have been amazing. flat power would be okay. I think it, you know, so Quinn, right now, if we were sort of thinking about the tier system, as she is right now, she's D tier for me. Maybe even, you know, you remember we made the special E tier for the old Ebony Maw? I think
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
there. She's there.
See-
She's just nudging Colossus, going, "Why is it so dark?" So she is D tier. If she got a flat 1 power generation, I feel like she goes up to be a B tier, C B tier. And then I think with power equal to damage dealt, I mean, it's a really nice builder. Sorry, it's a really nice power. I think it's A plus tier.
I think with power per damage, she's B plus. I don't think
Okay.
she breaks into that A tier, but like, you know, she does her job. She does her job well. She'll probably see play in the affiliations that she's in.
Yeah.
Right now, don't even bother building the model. Just don't.
Well, no, because it's probably going to break as well. Let's have a quick look at the model, Quinn, because it is. I mean, it's a very dynamic pose.
Is. Yeah.
Let's just say that. I think we mentioned it before. I do have concerns. I am going to be drilling out that arm and putting in a metal, you know, probably, you know, paper
brass
clip
rod
or brass rod to secure it, because it feels like it's going to snap very, very easily.
I'm far more worried about the ninjas and the one guy that's like stood on the other guy's like little coattails.
Yeah,
I know it's just slash, isn't it? It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Flip side, guys, on her unhealthy side, nothing much changes, but she just loses a stamina. And let's talk about that as well, Quinn.
Average stamina for a 4 threat is 6/6.
Yeah. So she's 1 below on the stamina.
And average defenses are higher than 3/3/3.
Typically, you get 10 defense as a 4 threat. Now,
Yeah.
martial prowess seems to be the trigger that stops that.
Yeah.
Which again is fine if you can do if you've got power to be able to do it. She's never having the power. In fact, honestly, Quinn, if she was on the board, she is the last character on the board that I'd be aiming for, because she's useless.
Yeah.
She's
You just ignore her for the entire game, and then it's like, oh, you finally built up 5 power in that, in that second round. So like going into the third, you can do an impale.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just daze you with an afterthought because you're, 6 stamina, 3 defense.
Really, really disappointing. Really, really disappointing.
It's such a far cry from Shadowland's Daredevil himself, who is genuinely a very impressive 4 threat.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. I just think they've missed the trick with this one, Quinn. Absolutely missed the trick, and it's a real shame. It is a real shame, because I was quite looking forward to running these guys. They were potentially going to be my route into CS, because I'm not into the whole control CS game. I feel like Daredevil brings a different play style to it, and running.
Even without Elektra, you can still do Daredevil.
You still can, but I was excited about running the pair. You know me, I like my pairings of characters. I always take Groot and Rocket. I always take Nebula and Gamora. I always take X-23 and Honey Badger. I always take Red Skull and Magneto. You know me. I love my I love my pairings. I love my pairings.
Oh, no.
And yeah, she's just underwhelming. Like I say,
I think the term we can use is wank.
She is Elektra. She's wank. Quinn, speaking of pairings,
I thought you were going to say speaking of wank, and I was like, where's this going? What?
We are on to the next part of the show, which is one of my favourite parts, which is, do you even paint, though? And I set the challenge last week, and you were a bit surprised, Quinn, because normally you say my challenges are boring.
And I'm correct.
And no fun. And I thought last week's or this week's was a good challenge. So it was Marvel pairings. So not necessarily husband and wife, but 2 characters who are synonymous with each other. And we had some really nice pairings. Like it was quite funny actually to look through them all. So to everyone that entered, thank you very much. Me and Quinn always enjoy looking through them. As always, everyone who's entered will be entered into our prize draw, where at the end of March we're going to be, or hopefully at the end of March if we can get hold of them, we're going to be drawing a winner for the Rivals pack. That's the Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man, with the foil cards that are useless now because you can't.
No, they didn't get changed.
Oh, they didn't get changed, did they?
Yeah.
That is absolutely right. Yeah, so they're not useless. But
Stop preaching your lies, Richard.
so let's go in as we always do. We've got 2 honourable mentions, and then we have the winner of the week. So Quinn, going in with honourable mention number 1. I think we've seen them a couple of times before. They definitely put submission in every week, but this is the Heroes for Hire from Not 47. So we've got Luke Cage and the Immortal Iron Fist of Kunlun. There we go. I always get the wrong way around, right? That really shit guy from the Netflix show. And these
Morris Tyrell?
yeah, these are really nice, right? The muscle definition is really, really good. The OSL from the Dragon is like, it's there, and it's just subtle enough. I've seen some where like the OSL's far too much. But let's be honest, guys, yellow's one of the hardest colours to paint, and he has absolutely nailed it here. And I've just noticed a little OSL along the base as well on Danny Rand, which
it's sort of
which
like
is really nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, so you picked this one out, Quinn, didn't you? So what stood out for you?
I really like sort of as you said, the muscle definition, specifically on Danny Rand, like sort of the way that, you know, the abs are highlighted, sort of. I don't know muscle groupings, but you know, sort of the side bit.
That's because he's never had them, people at home.
No. But you know, the side bit, like I like sort of the highlighting on
yeah,
like,
I don't know what they're
shadow
called.
there. I mean, yeah, no one knows what those are called. The flank? I don't know.
The flank, yes, yeah.
Yeah, we're going with the flank. He's now a cut of meat.
But yeah, well done, Not 47. You get an honourable mention this week, and our second honourable mention, Quinn. And I think this was last week's winner.
Yes.
John BW, with a ever so subtle, Quinn, little conversion on Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange and Wong, your favourite 2 threat in the game. I'm going to break down Wong.
I'm not sure about that, but favourite 5 threat in the game, yeah.
I'm going to break down Wong, and then I'll let you go on to Strange.
Okay, so I mean, yeah.
I really like the OSL, and I know it sounds daft, but just on the tip of his toe that he's got raised up, the OSL on there just looks, I don't know, it just really caught my eye. Really, really caught my eye. I thought it was a really, really good paint job on Wong, because he's not the best of characters, let's be honest, in terms of poses and everything else. But yeah, super job there. And Quinn, what drew your eye about Strange?
I mean, for one, I think everyone at home knows I am a sucker for Doctor Strange.
He really
fucking love Strange. If you want to get mentioned on this, just post Doctor Strange every week. I'll probably pick it. The thing I really like is sort of this gritty painting style that John has going on. Like, you know, as we saw with the Ghost Rider last week, it's very sort of grim style, and I think it works really nicely. Like, this Strange definitely evokes the MCU Strange for me.
Yeah, definitely,
like
definitely.
He's got sort of like the washed out blues, like there's not like the big white symbol on his chest. Rather, that's been kept as sort of like a grey blue as well, which definitely fits more of the movie robes. I mean, also, like, you know, he's done the little white bits in the hair. He's done the goatee, which I don't actually think is modelled on that model.
I don't know if it is or not. I can never remember. But I mean, either way,
I think he might have a mustache in the officially painted one.
Yeah, maybe he does.
Well, yeah, I just really like that. There is some more OSL, like, sort of on his legs from the ring that he's coming through. Yeah, and I like the bits of like broken sort of brickwork on the base as well.
Yeah, just a solid, absolute solid paint job, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the sort of little bit of OSL coming from the eye as well. It looks like kind of maybe. I don't know if that's what that is. Kind of on his
OSL coming from the eye as well.
On his thing there, and then the sort of makeshift belt thing. Is that a makeshift belt, or did mine break off? I can't remember.
That is the converted belt.
Yeah, it is the converted belt.
Because normally he has the sash, but it's been changed to a belt.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. Well done, John BW. 2 weeks in a row. You got a win last week and an honourable mention this week. But Quinn, there really could only be one, or should I say, 2 winners. This week.
The greatest MCP couple in history.
I'll tell you what it is, Quinn. You know, Wanda has gone through or is about to go through multiverses, right? Searching for her children. Nothing can break Corvus and Proxima apart. Similarly, wherever Honey Badger is, you're always going to find X-23. There are some relationships within the Marvel world that no matter how many times people have tried, they've never been able to break them apart.
Yeah, like individuals that are just so synonymous with one another that they're effectively a single entity.
So our winners this week, and in theory, he has got some paint jobs. One of them's got paint jobs going on, right?
Yeah, well, one of them does have some artwork.
One of them has got some artwork, but I mean, let's talk as what drew us to these two first of all. We'll describe them, Quinn. These two characters, shall we call them?
Well, I mean, there's a really nice ginger beard on one of them.
Yeah, the ginger beard is really good. I
have seen this individual without the ginger beard as well, and it's definitely better on.
Definitely better on. Yeah, definitely better on. I mean, they're Welsh. So
one of them is Welsh. One of them is Welsh.
Yeah. He did, however, do the right thing and escape Wales, which is always good. But our MCP couple of the week is, of course, Chris and Jonah. For anyone who knows Chris and Jonah, they are two of the nicest guys that you could possibly meet. Even though Jonah is Welsh. Two really great players, two really, really good guys. You may have seen Jonah on the channel in the past. He actually couldn't take part in the charity event, but Chris did. Jonah's joined us for the Christmas special.
The Christmas special, yep.
I think did they both join us for the draft? I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they were both in the draft.
They both joined us for the draft. But the joke is that wherever one is, you will always find the other.
They are gaming spouses. That's their own terminology. We didn't make this up.
They are gaming spouses. So our winners of the week, and I will be putting their picture up on YouTube, is Chris and Jonah. So well done to you two guys. You don't win anything, but you get entered into our little prize draw, don't you?
They go in the Hall of Fame, which means every time we go into the Hall of Fame, there's just going to be a picture of those two there randomly.
They go into the Hall of Fame, yes. So Quinn, I got to choose last week's theme, which means that the baton is, of course, passed over to yourself. Indeed. So what have you been rustling up and thinking of? Because I know all you do is sit there for 2 weeks thinking about
I
what
sit
shenanigans
here in like
you're going to come up
room,
with.
hunched over like a goblin, just thinking and plotting.
No, Quinn, we're talking about when you're thinking, not your normal stance during life.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I always like making you guess for a little bit, just so we can see what sort of insanity you think is about to ensue. And then it just gets worse when I say what it is.
Because I'm not going to... Because I feel like whenever I guess something that's, like, crazy, you go, I better make it more mental. So I'm just not going to say anything, and I'm just going to see what you've decided.
Right, well, if I said this was going to be in honour of, or in dishonour of, dear old Elektra, what would that evoke in your mind?
I don't know. You're not doing the ballerina of Hell's Kitchen, are you?
God, no. God, no.
The best 4 threats you've got? I don't know.
4 threats that are better than Elektra, which is all of them.
So you've got access to every single 4 threat?
All of them are Colossus.
I think he's better. They are as bad as each other. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. They're a perfect pair.
So there we go, guys. 4 threats that are better than Elektra. That is your theme for this week, guys.
There you go.
Guys, I hope you found it entertaining. It's nice to be able to actually break down some cards again. Hopefully we get more next week. Next week, fingers crossed, Quinn, we should be getting some Grunts news to learn a little bit more about how they work. And then as soon as they're up and available, Quinn, we'll have a game next week, won't we, at some point?
Yeah, 100%.
Using them.
I hope maybe we'll get, a thing on Fury's cards or something like that.
Yeah, I'd really like to see his tactics cards.
Taylor gets these characters early and leaks everything, so then we can actually play with Shield. Who knows? I mean, after that happens, we'll hopefully get news for what's coming in the month after.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Let's hope it's Asgard, because they need some help.
I really want to see Asgard. and I think there's a couple of others out there as well. Defenders don't need characters; they need some tactics cards. That's what they need.
I reckon this year we will see a second Defenders leader with tactics cards.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Not that she ever was the leader of the Defenders, I don't think, but they've gone with a weird version
this
of
sounds
Defenders
like comics, and I don't care. So, no.
Guys, if you've liked this video, please hit that like button. It really, really does help. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe. It's free. It's fine. If you want to help the channel out even further, we do have a Patreon up and running where from as little as £1 a month, you'll get access to some early content. You'll get special privileges on the Discord channel. And we also have a level in there as well that will give you access to our monthly competition that will be kicking off on the 1st of March. We've also got a merch store up and running now as well, so you'll be able to go and find all sorts of MCP inspired tees there. And as I just mentioned, we have a Discord server. I don't know how many people are on there now, X number of people.
There's at least 7.
That is a factually correct statement, yes. But all sorts of MCP discussions going on there, whether it's rules clarifications, whether it's roster discussions, whether it's just sharing pictures of your hobbying that you've been doing as well. So yeah, heading over. It's a really nice space full of other content creators as well. So not just me, but you'll find other content creators on there to be able to maybe cleanse your palate after listening to me and Quinn rant about how shit Elektra is for
I mean, I don't think you
minutes.
can find much palate cleansing in that regard. I imagine everyone else is saying Elektra is shit, because she is.
Probably, yeah. Guys, as always, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.
See ya.